What's up? It's 8:35 right now. The sun's setting in the background, so it's kind of nice, mellow lighting. And today I wanted to talk about something different, a bit of a personal story of mine. Um, and I don't really know where to begin. I've been trying to create this sort of narrative around my life, and you know, so that I have an answer to the question like, "What's your story?" And there's so many stories. There's so many ways to frame it. There's so much information. There's so many little steps along the journey that have made me who I am. So many interweaving storylines and things and events, and it's hard for me to just say this is who I am and these are my defining moments, and these are the moments where I really changed and transformed, because it's really felt like an ongoing journey. But I think one of the core moments of this journey, one of the core memories I have to this day, goes back about 5 years ago to COVID, the pandemic, 2020. And I'm sure you have strong memories of what happened then as well. I'm sure you have very deep personal experience, and remember what you were doing during that time. But for me, I had just graduated high school, or I was in my final year of high school, and COVID hit in really in March of 2020. And I remember because we were on spring break, and we were supposed to come back from spring break, but because the pandemic had gotten so bad, we didn't. And I was staying at my track coach's house with one of my teammates because we were going to run these big track meets during spring break, and we were excited because instead of the normal spring break where you just go home and fuck off, we were going to go race at these big track meets, and we were super stoked. And even in spite of all the COVID stuff that was happening, we were sure that we were going to go run at these meets. And then one by one, day by day, COVID started exploding on the news. I think it started in like Washington, and it just got worse. Every day a new track meet was canceled, and the list was just dwindling. And then by the time halfway through spring break hit, everything was canceled. We weren't even coming back to school, and everything changed. And that was a strange time for everyone. But when I got home, I moved all my stuff, out of my track coach's house. I got home, and the rest of that senior year was a bit of a blur. It was all on Zoom. All of our teachers kind of took it easy on us, knowing that nobody was paying attention in class. Nobody really cared what was going on. And I took that as an opportunity to do a bunch of drugs with my friends, because school was basically out. I was a senior, but not really. It was the easiest semester of my academic life, period. And so my friends and I took this opportunity to do a lot of drugs. We drank every night, smoked weed most nights. I started getting into vaping. I was never into vaping in high school, but someone, one day I just tried someone's vape at a party, and up until that point I'd tried it a bunch of times and never really was for me. And that time it just hit me like a truck, and I was like, wow, I love nicotine now. And I don't know why I'm sharing all my drug experiences, but I feel like it was a formative part of my growth. Because I used drugs as an escape. And I think most people do, but I realized this pretty early on that, as fun it was to get high, as fun it was to get drunk, whatever, it's not that fun the 5th and 10th and 100th and 256th time you do it. The first couple times it's great. It's euphoria. You've never experienced this level of confidence. You feel bulletproof. You feel creative. You feel like everything's just flowing, and you feel relaxed. and your mind goes blank and it's clear and you're able to be so present and you're able to feel weird and different. But once you get into a routine with this type of thing, it's just the same, and you're just chasing the high that you're never gonna quite get. It's not your 50th In-N-Out burger while high will never be as good as your first one. It'll never be as good as it is in your memory. And I spent a lot of time chasing this high, hoping that the next one would be just as good. Or at least that by doing this, I would be able to escape from the fact that I was unhappy and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was unhappy with my relationships. I was unhappy with my fitness. And I was generally just lost and confused. 17-year-old kid, about to enter college, and no plans, no direction. I didn't feel like I had the support. I didn't feel like I knew who I was. I didn't feel like I had any semblance of what I was going to major in, what profession I was interested in, who I was as a person. If you met me at a party and introduced yourself and asked me to tell you about yourself, I would tell you that I liked playing video games and watching YouTube and doing drugs. That was the extent of my personality. And I was deeply ashamed of that. And instead of changing it, I didn't feel like I had the power to change it. So I did drugs. And I watched YouTube. And I played video games. But of course that never changed anything. It never got better. It just delayed the problem of inadequacy and lack of, and this worthlessness that I experienced. I just kept pushing it till tomorrow, until the day I would really have to confront it. And that day never fully came. It was never one day. It only came in bits and pieces. Some days I would get really high and get home and lay down in my bed, but I couldn't fall asleep because I was too high. And I would sit there and I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't even open YouTube or play a video game to distract myself. And I was stuck in these thought loops of like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing with my life? What is the point of all of this? Am I happy doing this? Am I satisfied? Is this fulfilling? No, this feels like shit. I hate myself. What's wrong with me? And the first time that happens, the first couple times even, you can kind of dismiss it as, oh, it was just a bad high. Forget about it in the morning. Just be grateful that it's over. Don't get that high next time. It's a lesson. But after a while, after it happens enough times, it becomes a pattern. And that pattern is harder and harder to push away, harder and harder to hide from, to run away from. And eventually I confronted the fact that I was unhappy living this life, living this cycle, being stuck. And I just want to share this because there was no one moment of revelation or transformation. There were several small moments, and I'll certainly share more about those in the future. But if you find yourself in a similar position, this similar cycle, feeling stuck, I just want to share this because I want you to know that it's possible to get out of that. Whatever that is. It doesn't have to be drugs. It could be anything. Social media. It doesn't even have to be addiction. It could be just that you're unsatisfied with your life and you want something more. You're stuck in your hometown. Same old friends, same old routines. But I made this channel more than anything to inject hope into other people, to show that it's possible to live a different life. And so in the next couple days and weeks, I'll hope to keep telling my story, share everything else along my journey. And yeah, I hope you stick around. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.